We have exciting news for you all. The Anselm Society is going to be hosting our first weekend event since 2022. It's called Anselm's Long Expected Feast. It's going to be this September 19th and 20th. And as you may be able to guess, all you Tolkien fans out there, it will be in honor, in part, of Bilbo and Frodo's birthdays. The weekend will include a retreat with your choice of in depth workshops, an afternoon of restorative activities, and an evening pub night, plus a few very special surprises. Now, we are expecting that tickets for this event are going to sell out fast. So please make plans and get on the early bird wait list for this over at anselmsociety.org/fall feast. Once again, keep a lookout for Anselm's Long Expected Feast this September. Quick note about today's episode. You'll probably notice that early on, we had some issues with Christina's microphone. It sounds a little bit crackly. So if that is bothering you, here's what I will say. Please stick with it because later on in the episode, that issue resolves and toward the end, all the microphones sound fine. But just wanted to let you all know we're aware of the situation, but please do stick it out because I think this is a super fun episode. So without further ado, here's the show.
Walking a path along the roots of Pikes Peak, you take a fork in the road toward the Anselm Society Digital Hub. Inside is a raucous conversation on the arts, faith, and the amazing lyrical and musical stylings of Patty Griffin. In the quarter table by the fire are three people. One of them is trying and failing to hide her dismay at the confused faces of her friends. That's me, your co-host, Mandy Hauk. Welcome to Believe to See, a podcast of the Anselm Society Arts Guild. Here at Believe to See, we explore the relationship between faith, art, and storytelling. Our goal is to connect the great story, the great stories, and our own stories so that we can better understand what it means to live with a Christian imagination. So tonight, first let me introduce my co-hosts because I have questions for them. So Christina, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm great.
Do you know who Patty Griffin is?
I do not. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. This is an experience that I have on occasion. How about you, Matthew? Do you have any idea who I'm talking about?
She was that actress on Seinfeld, right?
You're just being obnoxious on purpose.
No, I know she was a singer.
Don't kill her. She has a new album coming out at the end of this month.
Well, good for her. That's great.
She's like 70, but she's still going.
Awesome.
Oh, that is
I'm
great.
serious. Yeah. Anyway, I'll talk more about her later. But so essentially, what we're going to talk about tonight is when we become obsessed with a book, an artist, a singer, something like that. And then it kind of becomes part of our personality and we get a little testy when other people don't know who they are or worse, don't like them. Oh no. But we like to try to make people love what we love, don't we? So Christina, is there a genre of art or books or music or anything that you love so much that you find yourself kind of evangelizing on behalf of that?
I do. Sometimes it's authors for sure. Sometimes it's poets, but I probably most often it would be music. It would be musicians or songs themselves or song artists, musical artists.
Well, I think you introduced me to Future of Forestry.
I did.
And thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Is that one of the ones you like to share with people?
Yes, it is.
And
yes,
the Grey Havens.
Yep. Grey Havens. I absolutely also love Arcadian Wild, particularly.
Oh, yes.
They have some great stuff, but particularly their whole album, Principium.
I don't think I've listened to that one yet.
Ooh.
I think I tend to put them on shuffle, so I probably have, but I didn't know I was.
Okay, that's just a 4-song album, and it has to be listened to in order, so I can get on that bandwagon later if you like.
Oh no, I'm with you on that. Like if you like no, it's true. You really should listen to albums. So I'm ashamed, but every now and then
Don't
I
be
do put.
ashamed.
No, I'm kidding. I put artists on shuffle sometimes if I'm like, oh my gosh, they have so many albums, I can't listen to them all right now, and I want to, listen to their whole catalog. But yeah, I think wasn't it Jacob Harold in his interview with you, Matthew, talked about the lost appreciation for listening to an album in order, the way
In its
the
entirety,
musician
yeah.
intends it. Yeah.
Yep. He has a whole album side on that where we used to think of the album as a complete unit where all the songs would sort of tell some overarching story. Now we
Hmm.
think of song as sort of the standalone individual like atom where
Yeah.
it's all by itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and we know a number of singer-songwriters in our circles, and they do say it's actually a struggle to produce songs now or produce albums because they often want to have this narrative, but with Spotify and Apple Music and all this stuff, that's just not how people listen.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another podcast. But
It is, and it was already made.
Yeah. So what? So
Go
Matthew,
find
what about you? Is there like an author or do you have like a bandwagon you want everybody to jump on?
So there have been a few bandwagons that I've been really, really going all out for recently and for a while. First one, I keep talking about it on the podcast. This will be no surprise. Susanna Clark, specifically Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, because she has two big novels, right? Pure and Easy, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I feel like I can speak on pretty firm ground here. All of us at Anselm, we friggin' love Pure and Easy. We think it's the best. I think it's one of the best books I've ever written. That's great.
Whoa, you heard it
Yeah.
here first.
If
He is
only.
the alter
If only.
ego.
It's one of the best books I've ever read. It's probably going to remain one of my favorite books for a very, very, very long time. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, the book that made Susanna Clark famous, I have found it's a little more polarizing. Some people, like me, love it to pieces. It's honestly maybe my favorite book, just in terms of the reading experience in the world. Other people read it and either think it's okay or think it's kind of weird or they can't really finish it. And those people all exist, and I respect their opinions, but they're objectively wrong because it's
That
amazing.
was what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I would love to answer a question about Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell.
We'll get back to it. What's your other evangelizing?
The other ones I have in mind, I think this is one of my most enjoyable movies, the movie that I could just keep watching over and over. Hot Fuzz, the Nick Wright movie, Simon Pegg. It's so good. It's hilarious. I think it's brilliant. It is cinematic mastery. And again, I just want to tell everyone about it. And the final one is a TV show I have just been on a deep dive in. I can't get enough of. And I'm actively trying to talk my relatives into watching it because I think they will like it. Bob's Burgers. I love Bob's Burgers.
That's an animated one, right?
It is. And it's brilliant, and people are not loving it like they should, and it's driving me nuts.
That was what I was going to ask you. Yep. Like, so it bothers you, like viscerally.
It kind of does. Viscerally. Like, if my brother would just friggin' watch the show, he would love it. Help me to help you, Brian.
Of the books, etc., that you just listed, does one of them bother you more than others?
So, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, again, I love it. But I understand why it wouldn't be their cup of tea, because it's an unusual book. It's written in sort of this sort of archaic plot structure. So if someone reads it and it's not for them, I disagree, but I get it, right?
Okay.
Hot Fuzz, it's not for everyone. It's for a specific type of. I mean, I'm kind of the exact target demographic of it. So again, like, my wife wouldn't like the movie, and I understand that. And then Bob's Burgers, I understand not everyone loves the adult animated TV show that has lots of fart jokes in it. So I get that.
But it sounds like you have
I love fart jokes, so I mean, there's that.
I mean, maybe you should watch Bob's Burgers.
I highly doubt it because I don't love animated things, but we did have a podcast on that already.
We
So
did. We talked
Mhm.
about your prejudice against the animated shows.
We did.
See, he's getting riled up because you don't
He
like
is getting
Mickey
riled
Mouse.
up.
This is what I'm saying.
Ah!
But I did notice that you specifically called out your brother Brian.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're mad at him for not even giving it a chance because you know he would like it.
Well, I just know my family, especially my dad's side, our sense of humor is perfectly aligned with the sense of humor on Bob's Burgers.
And they
And
need to believe you.
one of the main characters, like the Bob's wife,
Uh-huh.
is so similar to our grandma Pat. Like if he would just get into it, he would love it. And he won't. He's too busy growing his career and raising his children. It's like, come on,
Nice
dude, stop being
air
so
quotes.
selfish.
Okay, nice air quotes for the raising his family. Yeah, so for me, I think you all know, like, well, there's Patty Griffin. Let me talk about Patty Griffin. Okay, so Patty Griffin was primarily a songwriter for the beginnings of her career, and then the formerly known as Dixie Chicks, currently known as just the Chicks, they recorded some of her songs, and then she was like, I should record some of these songs because I wrote them. And so then she started recording, and basically there's sort of there's a group of us that are just Patty Griffin freaks. We were on a cruise ship once and they have the performers in the different like bars and restaurants, and this one woman was up there. It was just her and her guitar, and she was taking requests, and everyone was requesting I requested Patty Griffin, and she freaked out even more than I did, because she said in all of her years doing this, gig, nobody has ever requested Patty Griffin. She was all excited, and yeah, so it was funny. So anyway, so she sang a Patty Griffin song. So on that, I don't get annoyed at people for not knowing who she is, because I understand that. To a degree, I'm annoyed at the music industry because she's constantly like opening for other people, even though I think her album right now is like her, I don't know, 15th or 16th album, and she's won Grammys. And someone I love very dearly, who I talk about a lot on this show. Well, actually, two. Only half of our family,
Ooh.
only Emmy and I like Patty Griffin, and the other two are wrong. And it's a rift. No, but that's actually why I started thinking about this topic for this podcast, because I have finally surrendered and accepted Bethany's insistence that she just doesn't like her, and because I would drive her crazy, because I would just go after her. I'm like, no, but have you listened to this song? Okay, but no, have you listened to that one? And and she's like, her voice is not my thing, and so but it's just, what's weird to me is how much it matters to me. And I was just wondering if that was just a me thing. I do the same thing, of course, with Leif Inger. I am the one who finally made Matthew finish reading Things Like a River.
She made me.
I think they know that. I think it was a
Yep.
recurring theme on
many
episodes.
podcasts. Yes.
Have you read it yet? And yes, and I know now you have.
I have read it. I thought it was excellent, but I don't want to read it again because it makes me feel cold.
Because it's in Minnesota or North
Minnesota
Dakota.
winters.
Minnesota,
No,
yeah.
thank you. But it was objectively an excellent book.
That's how good of a writer he is. You felt cold while reading it.
Yes.
Yep.
But so that was the key that I'm trying to get to, though, is how it's funny to me that it like hurts that someone doesn't like something I love. Have you had that experience, Christina, or does everyone always like the music you tell them to listen
Oh
to?
goodness, I wish. No, no, no. Yeah, it is. I've thought about that. Like, why does it matter so much? And I'd usually just like chalk it up to my own like insecurity or whatever.
Right.
But I think it could go deeper than that. So
Well, I think sometimes it feels like, but I really want to share this with you, especially if
Yeah,
it's someone you really, really love.
yeah.
I I'm glad you brought that up, Christina, because I was thinking along those same lines. Because for me, I'm thinking there's almost two categories where I'd be upset if someone didn't like something that I liked.
Hmm.
One of them is if I'm secretly kind of insecure about it, because you both mentioned music. You both know a lot more about music than I do. I don't know a lot about music, and I'm not super duper. I wouldn't say I have good like musical taste naturally, so I wouldn't recommend music to someone because I just don't think I get it right. So if I was like, "Oh, you should really listen to, the Blorgle Bloggles or whatever,"
The
and they're like,
Blurgle Block.
they're like, "I listen to the Blorgle Bloggles, they suck," I'd be like, "Oh, they might suck. Maybe I suck. Oh no!" And then I just sort of spiral. But the
Yeah.
the other,
Yeah.
so that's like one extreme, where like you secretly don't super duper trust your taste and you're afraid it's not going to withstand scrutiny. But then
Mhm.
there's the other side where it's like this thing, I love it so much. It's like a part of my identity. So
Yes.
if you're rejecting this thing that I love, it's almost like you're rejecting me. So it's like the
Yeah.
two ends of the spectrum where you could get
Yep.
upset.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, actually, it was funny because Peter and I went out to lunch with friends after church a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about Leif Anger, as one does, as Mandy does. Anyway, for like, I don't know, 15 years. And then I went to a book signing and they introduced him as Leif Anger, and I was horrified. And I was like, I have to email all of my students. I've taught them to say his name wrong. Anyway, so it's Leif. But anyway, so Mr. Anger, we were discussing him, and we were talking about how I met him at that book signing and like geeked out all over. And it was just, yeah. Anyway, it was embarrassing. Um, but she asked which book it was, and I said Virgil Wander. And then she was saying, well, I just read his most recent one, I Cheerfully Refuse. And she goes, I have to say, I think I like that one better than Peace Like a River. And it was funny because I said, I've heard that from a few people, but I can't even entertain the thought of that because loving Peace Like a River is sort of my identity. So I don't think I'm allowed. I don't think my friends and family would think I was unwell if I said I preferred even another Leif Anger book to Peace Like a River. But I Cheerfully Refuse is really, really good. So um yeah. But so what do you think is behind that? So we've talked about why it bothers us when someone doesn't like something we like because we're insecure. Um, but why do we want to share it so much? Like why can't we just be like, wow, I love that, and like sit there with it and just go on about our day? Why do we become like evangelists for Patty Griffin and you know the Grey Havens? What's
I
behind
just
that?
think we are hungry for connection as humans. Thing.
It's like that line from the phrase song, I will fix you, or I will whatever. Sing it, Matt.
I think that's Coldplay. I will try
Oh, is
to
that
fix
Coldplay? Oh my gosh,
you.
I'm sorry.
And then the tears stream down your face.
What song was
Words
I thinking of?
will
Oh
guide you. Okay, anyway, so transitioning very smoothly from my Coldplay bridge.
Oh,
I
sure.
think there's a few different reasons I'm thinking of. One is like Christina said. I think the best reason is this is a good and nourishing thing. This is a beautiful thing. It was nourishing for me. I want to share that nourishment with you, right?
That is a great word,
So
nourishing.
that's the best reason to do it, obviously. But then there's all these other sub reasons that us being humans can kind of come into as well. One of them is it's almost like finding the right gift for someone. Like a perfect gift giver is like, "Ooh, I know you so well. I
Oh,
know
yeah.
you will love this."
Yeah.
So it's almost showing like I think that's kind of my Bob's Burgers thing. It's like, Brian, I know you. You'll like this. Just trust me, right?
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
this other aspect where being the person who finds the right thing and can like share that with people is like, hey,
Yeah.
there's this really good thing that someone who knows, oh, there's this great new song. You haven't heard of it? Well, let me share it with you. That
Yeah.
can confer a lot of status on people. Not me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but other people.
Yeah. That's a
Mhm.
good point. I
Yeah.
think sometimes too, because I was trying to decide where my obsession with making everyone listen to Patty Griffin. Well, actually, I don't spread that because she does have a unique voice. So I don't talk about her as much as I do Leif Inger. I absolutely love her. The people that love her are obsessed. But she does have a unique delivery with the way she sings. So I'm not necessarily confident everyone's going to like her. But I think for her, when I do share her with people, it's for that. For me, it's for her because I feel like she's cheated out of being known, like, and we're buds, we're
Ooh.
besties, so she's really appreciative of me. No, I'm kidding. I have actually written her fan mail. Well,
I
some of
love
her
it.
songs, because you guys know, like, I have pictures on my wall that help inspire me for my writing, but even more than the pictures on my wall, I have playlists. And Patty Griffin, the way she writes songs, she writes them like snatches of story, and they always bring up like a question in my mind, like I want to know more about
Mm.
this little. It's almost like her songs are scenes. Like one of her songs is called Long Ride Home, and the entire song is just this man in the limousine riding home from his wife's funeral. That's the whole song. And so that makes me want to go, well, what else? I want to know more. Um, so I wrote her about that. I was like, I just want to thank you for whatever. Um, but I think with Leif Inger, I am just sure everyone is going to love his book. I'm just sure. I have no problem. Except last year, a really good friend of mine told me, and she doesn't listen to this podcast. I'm not going to say her name anyway, but someone I dearly love and respect. And she was like, yeah, I couldn't get into that. And I was like stunned.
Oh.
I was like, oh, what? It rendered me like speechless for a minute. And then I walked away. It was just sort of in passing. We were in a conversation with a bunch of people. So I don't think she noticed that I was like, oh, gut punched or anything. But then I walked away and I'm like, that's weird. Because, like, for you, Matthew, when you weren't reading it, you had some silly reason about how he handled the
Oh yes,
legal
I
stuff
thought
incorrectly.
the charges brought against one of the characters were
Davy.
unrealistic.
Yeah. And that's fair. I don't know. But
Is
this
that
woman
fair
was just,
though? Is that just weird?
no, that's fair because you know more about law than I do, and clearly more than Leif does. So, but I'm glad you got past it and kept reading because that's such a tiny part of the book. But for this other woman, she was like, I just couldn't get in. Like she was like meh about Peace Like a River, and I'm like, this is gonna redefine the way I think about her. No, I'm just kidding. Mostly, no, but so that was just shocking to me. Like I didn't know that was possible that someone could like
Mhm.
So
Peace Like a River.
I had something kind of like that happen. I thought
Oh
this was
yeah.
really funny because it involves Hot Fuzz, And
Mm.
listeners, you need to know I realize I misspoke earlier. It's Edgar Wright, the director, Simon Pegg, and Nick Frost, the stars. I'm glad I cleared that up. It was driving me nuts.
I'm sure it
But
was
anyway,
driving the listeners nuts too.
I
They
am
were
in like
like,
the bullseye demographic that movie appeals to. These kind
okay.
of overeducated men who saw it first in college and thought it was very clever, and they want to be erudite and all this stuff. So I a couple weeks ago, Christina's husband, Brian, had like the house was like Christina's traveling or something, and he was like, he just had some extra time. So I passed along through Christina's like, Brian, have you ever seen Hot Fuzz? You need to watch Hot Fuzz. You would love Hot Fuzz. And he watches it. And I asked him, like, what'd you think? And he was like, it was good. And I was like, just good? Wasn't
What do
it
you mean
great?
good?
Wasn't it cinematic brilliance? I was like, can you? It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. You only enjoyed it. You didn't love it.
Oh, it does. It like stings, and then you're. Oh yeah. Have you had that happen to you, Christina? I feel like.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, I have. I think though, I mean, the stings comes, so I would say deep disappointment and sort of like disenchantment perhaps comes when
Oh,
someone
there.
when someone I know doesn't like something. I'm just like, "Ugh, fine, okay, whatever. I misread that situation, moving on. I don't want to think about it anymore." But
Right.
then the closer situations, like with certain family members, there's like a different level of vulnerability. And when they don't like something that way, that's when the stinging kicks in. That's when like so many of those insecurities hit real hard.
Mm.
And then you start asking all these questions. And I think one of the things you said earlier, Mandy, when you were talking about Patty Griffin was, and that's her name, right? Patty Griffin.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, good. Yeah. Was you were like crusading for her, and you was like, I feel like
Crusading. That's the word.
yeah,
Yeah.
you were like, I just feel like she's being cheated of being known. And
Yeah.
that phrase just resonated with me. That is so, so true. Because I think when we believe in something or an artist or something we love, we really want to promote that or them or the brilliance of the mind that created it.
Mhm.
Or it's us, like, and the truths that we want known. You know, we want someone to experience the elevation of that knowing that sort of you felt when you were encountering it, and you want them to meet you there. And you
Right.
know, and I think about just the human connection in general and being known. And one of my favorite concepts and people to listen to is Kurt Thompson, and he has a podcast called Being Known. And it becomes a phrase that is so intentionally used, and you start to realize just how innate the craving is for each of us to be known and by someone else. And it's the lives that are really broken and really disturbed and really messed up when we don't feel known by at least one person. And those are the lives that really start to kind of be destroyed from the inside out, because there's that awful isolation and loneliness. And like, it's just basically like, an imploding, really, is kind of how I think of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so I think about that. And when you use those words, I was like, that's what it is. Like, you want this person that you so identify with and believe in and love and think is worthy of being loved to be known.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really, really, really a huge part of it. And I think especially when you reach out to someone like a family member who already knows you, or at least you think they know you to some degree, or they ought to, or, you know, whatever it is. And then they're like, you like that? Gosh, what the heck were you thinking? And you're like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe you don't know me anymore.
Well, I mean, that did happen, like, because my mom and sister and I don't typically have the same taste in books. And listeners might know that I did lose my mom a couple months ago in April. But we, she would laugh at me because as we have said in earlier podcasts, I do like sad books and my mother did not. And so she would like, sometimes she'd get halfway through a book and just give it back to me. And she'd be like, I don't need that. That's just, there's enough trouble in this world. I don't need that. And then she loved like really, Alexander McCall Smith. He's a British writer, and she loved Dick Francis, like mysteries and stuff. So then when she wanted to read my book, I was like, oh no, because I thought she wasn't going to like it. But then she did, and wow. But so that was something that we kind of had to come to an understanding where we're not going to loan each other books really, because that's just not going to be part of what our relationship is. We can enjoy other things. And for the last couple of years of her life, she wasn't driving. And so when my sister wasn't in town, I was driving her everywhere. And I actually made a playlist on Spotify called Riding Around with Granny. And I put, like, she loved Eric Satie and Mozart and Beethoven. So I put that stuff on there.
Aw.
But then I remember when there would be a singer that I was like, I'm sure mom is going to like this voice. And I would let her listen to it. And if she didn't like it, she would be very clear that she didn't like it. And it was like a stab.
Aw.
But, I think there's something, and going back to Patty Griffin, this is a good example. She is, because something about, for her, a lot of it for me is the lyrics. Typically, that's why I'm listening to music in the first place, and is the lyrics. A pet peeve of mine is if the music doesn't match the mood of the lyrics, that like throws my brain off. But I internalize Patty's lyrics so much, and they sort of like, they touch a part of me that just sort of makes me understand myself more. Does that make sense? And so then I'm like, oh, this is just so wise, and it touches so beautifully on the human condition. It makes so much sense to me. That's how it sort of becomes part of my identity. And so it's funny because Evangeline is another one who does not like Patty Griffin. And so I just started sending her lyrics. I'm like, okay, you don't have to listen to her, but look at these lyrics. So, because then we can still connect on that, you know? So how does Hot Fuzz, Matthew, identify with you?
Well, it really captures the things I find funny, and it also incorporates a lot of like homages to genre movies that I really like. It's sort of
Oh,
like they
okay.
they took a whole bunch of stuff that I like and they put it together.
That's
Um,
really cool.
so another show that got me thinking about this, there's this animated show. It's streaming on Disney Plus. It's called Gravity Falls,
I've
and
heard of
it's
that.
it's designed for like older elementary school kids, but I've
Perfect.
I've seen the entire series. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I tell people, if I was a super talented animator and had a blank, like a carte blanche to do whatever show I wanted, I would want to make a show like Gravity Falls. Like
Okay.
it's all the things that I enjoy and that I like. So if I were to share that show with someone and they're like, I think this show sucks, or like, I just don't like it at all, that would be to the level of like, do you just not get me at all?
Yeah.
Because there's that element to it. There's only a few works of art that I think each of us would have with that.
Hmm.
And something related, you touched on this, Mandy, and I think it's interesting, is I think it's especially with family members because they're the people who, they're in our lives, but
Yeah.
they're in our lives. They could be completely different people. Like, I know me and my mom have totally different tastes in like books and movies, and that's fine. It's like she's not going to like the stuff I like. I'm not going to watch stuff she likes. That's totally fine. But then there's the people who we think are kind of more like us, and that
Hmm.
can kind of hit differently, right? Like,
Yeah.
I know my mom's would hate Hot Fuzz if she ever saw it because it's violent. There's lots of swear words in it. That's totally fine. Okay, it's totally fine. That doesn't bother me at all. It's not my mom's cup of tea. But if someone were to like honestly, like if one of you were to watch Gravity Falls and be like, I think this is bad. Like, I just don't think it's good at all. Like, that would kind of be like, oh,
Would it feel
oh
like
no.
we thought you were bad, or
Yeah,
like
because
not
because
bad, but like
because
you suck?
because like we all three of us kind of like the same things, and I
Yeah.
respect you all's judgment on things. So if you were
Mhm.
like, this sucks, what's wrong with, like, you wouldn't say it
Yeah.
that way, but if you
Yeah.
did, it would be like, oh
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
no.
Would you
Like
Yeah.
start
that.
to would you
Yeah.
question us, or would you question your taste? It probably
Mm.
depends on the person.
That's a
It
great
really
question, though.
depends. It depends on the person. It depends on the work of art. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
going back to what
that's
we
true.
talked about earlier, there's some
Mhm.
things where it's like I would question my taste. Like if there was a particular song that I sent to someone and you're like, this is bad, I'd be like, maybe it's bad. I don't know enough to know. I
Yeah.
Right.
assume it's bad. But if it's something like a book or something where I feel like I do kind of I do kind of trust my taste in that, then that would hit differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think the dichotomy kind of that we're hitting on is that, of course, everyone's not going to like the same thing because art is so personal, but
Hmm.
it's the very fact that it's personal that makes it feel
Yeah.
like we're either strengthening or weakening a connection with someone if we
Yeah.
can't, like,
Yep.
you know,
Yeah.
agree on the brilliance of Hot Fuzz.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like if
I
my
think
dad were to watch Gravity Falls, be like, "This show's terrible," I'd be like, "Do you even get me, Dad?" Like,
What were you going to say, Christina?
all right, go ahead, Christina.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was just going to say like is there ever, because sometimes I think something strikes so personally that you're terrified to share it
Hmm.
because you're afraid that once you open up that little vulnerability valve in your heart and offer this extremely important piece of art or experience or whatever it is to someone else, your heart is in their hand.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that can be so painful. And so sometimes I think, I am probably, maybe not, but maybe like a little too careful sometimes with whether or not I recommend something to someone because I just feel so personally connected to it.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That could be why I don't share Patty Griffin with everyone.
Yeah.
Actually, I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't share her with my mom because I knew my mom would not
Wouldn't
like
like
her. My
it.
mom was super musical. She actually was a choral conductor. She established a chorus in her nursing school because there wasn't one. She thought that was lame. So she established it and it still exists to this day.
Yeah.
And so even though I didn't like everything she liked, well, I mean, everything that she liked was very high quality. So it's not like I'm like, yeah, Mozart, you know. But singing voices, like I viscerally remember the time that I was sure she would like Fernando Ortega and she didn't. And I
Oh,
was
that's fascinating.
baffled. I was
Yeah.
shocked. And so then every now and then, like the girls and I would talk about it. I would be like, I feel like Granny would like Ben Abraham. And oh my gosh, Ben Abraham's amazing. Y'all need to listen to him. But I was like, I feel like she'd like his voice. Do you guys think she'd like his voice? And I'm like, okay, let me pick the best example. And she did. She liked him. So whew. But it was sort of like, please like this because it's a
Yeah.
piece of my heart,
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
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 So to that point, Mandy, like
Yes.
I've already talked about how I don't trust my musical judgment, but still, I was once a young person who felt emotions, so I had this playlist that I would like listen to while I was jogging or in emotional turmoil, which was a lot back then, right? So
Yeah.
I have this list of songs in my phone that are very intensely personal to me and mean a whole lot to me. I've never shared that with anyone.
Wow.
Danielle
Still.
doesn't know what these songs are because I'm afraid she'd think they were stupid and that therefore I'm
Mm,
stupid. So I
Oh,
just don't
yeah.
share
wow.
them. They're
Yeah.
my songs.
Yep.
That is
Yep.
really, yeah. I do.
Yep.
I have moody,
Yep.
playlists for
No,
sure.
it's funny because there used to be a point where I just I listened to songs that I knew Brian would not like, And so if I were playing them and he would walk into the room, I'd be like, don't say anything.
Yeah.
Do not comment.
Yeah. Well, there are
I
times.
knew he would
Yeah.
say something. I think it took several years of marriage for us to just be like, shutting up about walking into the room and hearing someone else's music.
That
And
is
being
so
like,
funny.
because then I'm like, you ruined that for me. I can never hear that song the same way without knowing how you feel about this and
That's
the way you see this, whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
and
there's
plus the person, like one of the people you love most in the world is like, man, you
Ew.
like that?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, there's a
What's up with
family
you?
joke that I hate the wrong band. Everyone thinks I'm wrong because I cannot stand Hall & Oates, and my entire family is like appalled that I can't stand Hall & Oates. But
It's okay. I don't even know who they are. So
good.
My
Thank
mom
you.
loves Hall & Oates.
I'm sure. But they just overplayed them when I was coming up. And Maneater, really? Anyway.
She's Mandy.
Oh, don't!
Oh, there she goes.
Stop it.
Watch out for. I actually like
You
that.
don't even know the lyrics.
She's
Stop it.
Mandy. Whoa,
Oh, good.
there
You
she
know
goes.
the title. No,
Watch
here
out for.
she
And then I'll just
comes.
repeat that over and over.
It's not. It's you're singing the wrong lyrics. Stop it. Anyway. Oh wow. Okay. So now I totally lost my train of thought because you were dancing. So Christina, you were saying that like when Brian comes in the room, or this used to be true, you would say, don't
Sure.
listen, don't say anything.
yeah, don't say
so-
anything.
Right. So the fact that I have playlists for my characters, there are times that that's the only music I want to listen to, even if it means we're riding to church together. And Peter really doesn't like a lot of the music that goes into my playlist because it's like folk music. He likes some folk music, but some of it's like the vocals aren't what you would call technically good. So, but I'll just be like, hey, you know what? You're just going to have to listen to this and just, whatever. You're going to have to deal with this on the way to church because I'm stuck on this character and I need to listen to these songs. So, but yeah, he knows when he's not allowed to talk about stuff, but then he's not allowed to play Hall & Oates. So we're even. No, we're not even because I make him listen to mine. I might need to revisit that. But then it's funny because then you're like, well, why can't everyone just like what I like? But then of course they don't like what we like. And that goes back to it being personal. And that's that whole, there's the rub,
Yeah, something related to that I've been thinking about recently is when like your spouse just has totally different taste than you. Because like this is something that me and Danielle talk about because we have entirely different taste in movies. Like if we can find a movie that we both like, it's just crazy. Like because the Venn
Right.
diagrams just like barely overlap.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of Yeah, so the thing is, like, I feel like that's one of those things where when people are like dating, they make it seem like that's a big deal. I don't know if it's actually a big deal. Like, there are a lot of movies that I have a huge list, like movies to watch when Danielle is out for the night with her girlfriends, or
Okay.
movies, because there's just a huge list. I'm sure she has a similar list for me, but yeah, we don't like the same movies.
Well, see, that does become an issue when one of you retires. Because today Peter was out. He went to see Jurassic Park because I had no interest. So he went to see Jurassic Park, but then he came home too early and I was in the middle of watching the reunion show for the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Am I proud? No, I am not. I'm not proud at all. I am ashamed. But that's what was happening because I had been working hard all day and I was watching that and eating kettle corn. Okay. And he came home and I was like, dang it. So there are other shows that I'm like, you know what? I'm watching this. You're just going to have to wait till it's over, but with that, there's no way that I'm going to even let him see 5 seconds of that. It's just too embarrassing. And so I turned it off. And so now I'm like, are you going anywhere tomorrow? I need to watch Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
would be shocked how many times I will say to Danielle something along the lines of, I saw this great movie the other day. You would have hated it. And then I just sort of give them those synopses.
See, we're not that bad. We have like extremes. Like there's this great movie with Tony Shalhoub and Stanley Tucci called Big Night. Highly, highly, highly recommend. Stanley Tucci wrote it, directed it, starred in it. It's pretty, I think it's from like the 90s. Tony Shalhoub was Monk, for those of you who are trying to figure out who that was. It is it's like glacially slow, but by design. And it's this beautiful movie. And Peter is like, oh my gosh. He liked it better when we watched it a couple of years ago. He's them. But anyway, so yeah. So it seems like, I don't know, are we drawing any conclusions here, people? What have we learned?
That
Well,
humans want to be known and need to be known, and we're made to be known by God.
Yeah, and there's something inherent in the art that draws us specifically toward it.
Yes.
Yeah. That makes us feel more ourselves, I guess.
Absolutely. And it hurts when someone does not, well, it feels like they don't see you the way you see yourself when you encounter this art. You know?
It feels, it's like a rejection, even though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sadly, annoyingly, incorrectly.
What do you think, Matthew?
yeah, it's interesting because it's a pretty simple concept, but it can branch off into a lot of different areas, right? And I think that part of it is really, really interesting because, there's art that we feel sensitive about because we like we mentioned earlier, because we don't really trust our taste, or because we trust our taste so much that it becomes a part of us.
Yep.
There's the issue of sharing it with people who have different tastes from us, and even scarier, people who have the same tastes as us,
And
and
still
that's
don't
just
like
part
it.
of it. And there's
Yeah.
the aspect of it where I want to share a beautiful thing with someone. There's the aspect of, this just is an expression of how well I know you. And there's an expression of, I want this person whose taste I trust to vindicate my taste, right? Like, I thought this YouTube clip was funny. Here's that person I really respect. Well, they think it's funny too. And that sounds kind of silly, but it's also kind of looking for validation there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of aspects that come from sharing art that we like with others.
Yeah.
Well, and
It's
especially
very
when it's something like a book that resonated or a song that resonated, it just feels like if I'm offering for someone else to listen to it or read it, I'm offering them a glimpse into who I am, which would draw us closer together. It's almost like sharing a meal, you know? And I just had a little image in my head of like when a little kid comes up with a dandelion and, you pretend, pretend that they're giving you a rose, even though it's a weed that
I love that. That's so sweet.
So it's like an offering when you're trying to share something you love with someone else.
So by the way, if either of you ever watch Gravity Falls, you need to do that reaction, like the mom with the dandelion, right? It's like, oh, it was so great. Oh, I loved it.
Okay,
If you tell me you don't like it, it'll just crush me.
All right.
We should, that could be like our code word when we're recommending.
Oh, it was so good.
I'm telling you about this new musician I like. She's my dandelion. I'm offering you a dandelion. Patty Griffin is my dandelion.
That's amazing. I love this code.
I will understand if people don't like her voice, although I do. It's a unique voice. It's not anyway, but you have to like her lyrics. Her lyrics are stunning. That you're required.
Duly noted.
And we are
what I find
is
difficult is when one person, so you share something with someone that's very vulnerable, and they cannot find a single redeeming quality in it, and they just slam it. And
Yeah,
that is where you sort of shut down. And
Ooh.
that
Yeah.
person sort of becomes the unsafe person. And
No, that's true.
yeah. And so it kind of makes you think a lot about, well, how do I receive someone else's offerings? And how do I receive what they're telling me? And how do I actually talk to someone? And it's hard because I know family members, I'm going back to the family member thing, but we often know each other so well, or we think we do, that we often forget how fragile we all are. And I find that can be really a delicate situation to be in, to the point where you came at you.
I'm in
Matthew?
I'm in my in-laws like spare bedroom. I guess their lamp is on a timer. So
Do you want
I'll
to
just be
fix
You're
that for a
just-
sec?
Or
I
we
can't
could
figure out how
just
to make that work, so I'll just do this.
Can you like jump up and down? Ah, that works.
No, I
Well,
think
if it's on a timer, it's
on
not
a timer,
motion.
so I can't do anything about
That's
it.
all
I'll
right. He
just do
just
this
used
like I'm
his
in
video.
the Blair Witch Project. It'll be okay.
That actually
You
looks
do
good.
look
So it works out. I don't remember what I was saying, but I don't think I was really saying anything that important. But
No, you were talking about like being vulnerable, and when the person who we think they know us so well, and then they like slam the thing that we loved.
Yeah, and I think that's a good tip from the other side too, where if someone shares something with you that they really love,
Yeah.
where it's oftentimes the skill, like we're trying to teach like our school age kids, like they'll say something just totally blunt and honest that's like so like, buddy, don't say that. It's like, I'm just being honest. Well, there's other things to keep in mind, buddy.
Yes, speak the truth
that
in
sort of thing, where
love.
it might be, even if you read a book and you don't like it, maybe you can express that in a way that is still kind and considerate of how the other person can is feeling about it, and takes the fact that the other person is being very vulnerable with you into account.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and I would say like the way, like with Patty Griffin, Bethany and Peter don't slam her. They just do, and they appreciate that I love her, and they know why I love her. And there's no sense of rejection or anything. I wish I could share that. I wish it was something we shared, because I'm with them a lot. But that really is, you guys got me thinking about how should we react when we don't totally love something that someone has shared with us. And it could just be as simple as saying, tell me why, what makes you love that? What resonates with you? And on the one hand, that is much more polite than, well, your taste sucks. It's also kinder, but it also builds the bridge that they were trying to build in the first place. Because if you let them tell you why they love what they love, then you will get a window.
And maybe you will see something you didn't notice, because they'll tell you like, oh, I didn't think about that. Or I can actually see why that resonates with you because X, Y, Z.
Right. Yeah. Like, and that's why I send the Patty Griffin lyrics to the people who don't like her voice. Cause at least then I can share that. Cause nobody can say anything bad about Patty Griffin lyrics, or I'm coming after them. No, it's just not possible. I'm sorry.
Do you know what I found is difficult too, but really important, is when someone doesn't like something you love, and someone who's really important to you, someone you really almost felt like you needed them to like it, right? It goes back to the insecure part.
Yeah.
What do we do with that? And I've had to learn, like, you can't just say, well, screw them. And you can't,
really?
No, I wish you could,
Okay.
but you also, I mean, and of course, maybe they were wrong. Maybe they were very rude. Maybe they are not being considerate. Maybe they're not being educated. I don't know. But, you do have to look at it differently. You have to sort of look at yourself differently. It's not that we Okay, and maybe it's this. Sometimes when other people don't love what we love, we can say, well, I'm just an independent spirit and like I'm strong by myself. Like ain't nobody need to like help me out. Like, you know, rah rah me. And I'm just gonna go be my strong independent self. You know, we sort of shut out other people's opinions and, you know, like all that. But I think there's a different approach, which I am learning, which is like, where do I find the independence in that? But also, where is the growth trajectory for me? Because there's a reason that I identify with this movie or this song or this piece of art or whatever it is, this painting, you know, and that's a part of my journey. And what does that look like for me, even if it doesn't necessarily resonate with this person over here? Mm-hmm. And so it is like a separation. So you are sort of independently separating yourself from this person in that one way. But it's not a, I don't need you. It's more like a, oh, that's interesting. I am growing in this way and you are not. And or you are growing that way, but through a different medium or through a different, you know. So I find it very different. I feel like I've seen people kind of go both ways with this. And I'm really wanting to be the person who goes the more mature route and the less like, well, screw you, I don't need you.
Yeah, instead of like the defiant, offended posture, you take it as a, well, I appreciate that you and I are at different places and we're different people. I mean, we're all Imago Dei, but in that we're all completely unique, even in what resonates within us and what does not.
Yeah. And I think it's hard to, yeah. And I don't want it to be like, I don't want to sound like I'm like oversimplifying, like, oh, well, how do you maturely react and how do you immaturely react? But there is a way to engage with our own experiences with something we want to share when someone else does not like it. That is positive and has nothing to do with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And has everything to do with us. And I think that's what I'm getting at. It's not like, well, okay, fine, but you're an image of God too, so I'll just let you be an image and I'll be an image. But like, you know, like it's right. Not that. It's like, okay, I guess this song really is part of God's journey for me. And I guess I just need to like, just keep looking at that. You know, what does Lord have for me in this? Small, but I feel like there's this very tiny shift that we can have in our brains if we're not careful when someone reacts very poorly to something that we love. Mm-hmm. So anyway, it got me thinking about that. And I just felt like that was kind of important to bring up because it is an act of vulnerability. So how do we react when that vulnerability is met poorly?
Yeah.
Or not the way we had hoped.
Right. Were you going to say something, Matt?
Yeah, I was just along those lines. I think a couple things. One, I think this applies just in life in general. Usually, the things people will freak out the most about and be the most defensive about, whether it's political views, religious views, that's just a human thing to do.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times
we've all done it.
Yeah, So a lot of times if our reaction is that to being challenged to like you didn't like Hot Fuzz or Gravity Falls or you thought Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrells was meandering? Maybe it's because deep down we're not sure about it ourselves. Like to give a very silly example, one of my favorite sitcoms ever is 30 Rock. And I think it's self-evident that 30 Rock is an amazing show and it's so well done. My brother-in-law watched it and didn't care for it. So me and my wife and my sister-in-law, our reaction was like, well, you're wrong. You need to grow. You need to do this. Like I wasn't offended. It was just like, oh, okay, well, Oh,
You
buddy,
got
you have
some
some work to
growing to
do.
do, bud.
Exactly. But then there's the other end of the spectrum, like you brought up, Christina, where it's like something you're secretly hoping to get validation from someone who
Mhm,
you need validation from, right? It's someone
mhm.
who you respect, you look up to. And it's just the sort of thing where you can acknowledge that different people can like different things. Even people who you look up to are wrong about some stuff. And
Yeah.
also, you don't need to be validated to be by that particular person to have worth as a human being, right? And that's the toughest one, but it's unfortunately accurate.
Yeah,
Right.
unfortunately accurate.
And
Yep.
it really it comes down to its opinions.
Yeah.
And some opinions are based on something deep, and that's why it feels personal, and feels like a rejection. I like a lot of the words that have been bandied about, like vulnerable, and like that really, it does, it's like a vulnerability, to, because you're saying this is part of who I am, because I love this. And yeah, anyway, I
Mhm.
think it's just further proof that, of the importance, like the visceral, real, deep importance of beauty, because it impacts us in these ways that we can't even really explain. Um, and it seeps in and becomes part of who we are. And then because God made us for community, we want to share it, because it like elevates the experience of loving the thing when someone we love appreciates it too, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
I think the last thing on that that makes me think of it is, because we were made for relationship, the
Hmm.
Imago Dei,
Hmm.
a three-person God in constant relationship, the fact that we feel so hurt when we offer something that makes us feel us to someone and
Hmm.
it's rejected just points to how beloved we are by a God who made us to be in relationship.
Mm. Even when
Yeah.
it's hard,
Yeah. And it just,
especially when it's hard.
well, especially when it's hard. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe if we're going to be really positive as we walk away, is when people really reject something that we love that means a lot to us and makes us feel whole, is to be like, oh, well, God wanted me to be loved and he loves me. Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so hurt right now. It's because
Yeah.
God loves me. You like how that sounds, everyone? Sounds
Yeah.
great, right?
Yeah.
It's a
Right.
great takeaway.
No, but I do think, like we were talking about before, because I feel like, um, we've using tons of analogies, but this is the last one I'm going to use. And I mentioned it before. It's like trying to, build a bridge across to someone, and like tie. I'm mixing my metaphors. But you're trying to like strengthen your bond with someone by sharing this thing you love, and which will also, um, enhance your love for whatever book or music that is. And then when it's not accepted, that's like that can hurt, but that every time we're hurt, that's an opportunity to really explore why are we hurt. And it
Yeah.
doesn't have to like be a separation between us and the other person. It doesn't need to be that dramatic. I don't hate the woman who doesn't like Peace Like a River. I just know I'm probably not going to recommend books to her, because apparently we don't we're hearing different sounds. You know, it's not, it's sort of like taste in food, you know. No way dill pickles taste to people who like them the way they taste to me, because they're disgusting. There's no way. So I'm sorry to everyone who likes dill pickles if I have burned a bridge between us. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, I think being, respectful of other people when they offer their dandelions, and being gracious if our dandelions are rejected as weeds. I don't know.
Mm, mm.
But ultimately, it's just, yeah, it's about beauty and community. Weird. It's like we keep coming back to that. It's like a theme or something. I don't know. Something. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I have run out of my drink and the bartender is nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Are the
yeah.
customers trundling home?
They are. Things are winding down here at the Anselm Society Digital Pub. The fire is down to embers. The customers are trundling home. And you have polished off your final glass. Once again, Believed to See is a podcast of the Anselm Society Arts Guild. If you have a minute, we would love for you to rate and review the show on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get your podcast. Thank you so much for listening.